Land, soil, water is the resources that belong to abiotic resources and are the most important resources. Whereas natural vegetation and wildlife resources come under biotic resources. The land is among the most important natural resources. The land covers about 30% of the total area of the Earth's surface. Fig. Land 90% of the world population occupies only 30% of the land area. The remaining 70% of the land is either sparsely populated or uninhabited. The land is unevenly inhabited due to various factors of land and climate, water, fertility of the soil, etc. Normally, the sparsely populated or uninhabited areas are because of rugged topography, steep slopes of the mountains, low-lying areas susceptible to waterlogging, deserted areas, and thickly forested areas. The densely populated areas of the world have plains, river valleys that have suitable land for agriculture. Uses of land. Land use refers to the use of land use for different purposes such as agriculture, forestry, mining, building houses, roads, and setting up of industries. Factors affecting land use are of two kinds, I. Physical factors and E. Human factors. Physical factors include topography, soil, climate, and availability of water. Human factors include population and technology. On the basis of ownership, land can be classified as private and community land. Private land is owned by an individual or family members and is used for personal purposes like a house is private land. Community land is owned by the community for common uses and can be used by anyone in the society like a collection of fodder, fruits, nuts, or medicinal herbs. These community lands are also called common property resources. The demand for land by the people is growing, but the availability of land is limited. The vast changes in the land use pattern show the cultural changes in our society. Land degradation, landslides, soil erosion, desertification are the major threats to the environment because of the expansion of agriculture and construction activities. Fig. Land habitation. Conservation of land resources. Growing population and their ever-growing demand has led to large-scale destruction of forest cover and arable land and has created a fear of losing these natural resources. The present rate of degradation of land must be checked. The common methods used to conserve land resources are afforestation, land reclamation, regulated use of chemical pesticide and fertilizer, and checks on overgrazing. Soil is a thin layer of grainy substance covering the surface of the earth. Soil is made up of organic matter, minerals, and weathered rocks found on earth. Soil profile refers to the layered structure which spreads from the parent rocks to the topsoil surface. Fig. Soil. The four layers of soil profile are: first layer topsoil with humus and vegetation, second layer subsoil with sand, silt, and clay, third layer weathered rock material, fourth layer parent rock. Factors of soil formation. The major factors of soil formation are the nature of the parent rock and climatic factors. The other factors of soil formation are the topography, role of organic material, and time taken for the composition of soil formation. Parent rock determines the color, texture, chemical properties, minerals, content, and permeability of the soil. Relief determines the altitude and slope and accumulation of soil. Flora, fauna, and microorganisms affect the rate of humus formation in soil. Climate determines temperature and rainfall, which influences the rate of weathering and humus in process of soil formation. Time determines the thickness of the soil profile. It takes hundreds of years to make just 1 centimeter of soil. Fig. Soil degradation of soil and conservation measures. The major threats to soil erosion and depletion. Human beings and natural factors are responsible for the degradation of soils. Deforestation, overgrazing, overuse of chemical fertilizer or pesticide, rainwater, landslides. And floods are the factors that leads to soil degradation. Soil conservation refers to the protection, efficient use of soil and preservation of soil resources. Mulching is the method in which the bare ground between plants is covered with a layer of organic matter like straw. It helps to retain soil moisture. Contour barriers is the method in which stones, grass, soil are used to build barriers along contours. Trenches are made in front of them to collect water. In terrace farming, broad flat steps or terraces are made on the steep slopes, so that flat surfaces are available to grow crops. It reduces surface runoff and soil erosion. In intercropping, different crops are grown in alternate rows and are sown at different times to protect the soil from rain wash. Contour plowing is the process of plowing parallel to the contours of a hill slope to form a natural barrier to stop water from flowing down the slope. Fig. Contour plowing shelter belts are the rows of trees planted to check the wind movements to protect soil cover. Water. Water is a vital renewable natural resource. 3/4 of the Earth's surface is covered with water. Therefore, it is called a water planet. Ocean water is saline and not fit for human consumption, whereas freshwater accounts for only 2.7% of the total water available. Only 1% of this fresh water is available and fit for human use and is found as groundwater, rivers, lakes, etc. Freshwater is the most precious substance on earth. It can neither be added nor subtracted from the earth. Water is used for agriculture, industries, generating electricity through reservoirs of dams, etc. The major causes of water shortage are increasing population, rising demands for food and cash crops, increasing urbanization and rising standards of living. Fig. Water problem of water availability. There is a water shortage in many regions of the world. It may be a consequence of the variation of seasonal or annual precipitation, or the scarcity is caused by overexploitation and contamination of water sources. Countries located in climatic zones are most susceptible to droughts and face great problems of water scarcity. Conservation of water resources. The major problem of today's world is a shortage of clean and adequate water sources. Steps should be taken to conserve water. Water is a renewable resource, but its overuse and pollution make it unfit for use. Sewage, agricultural chemicals and industrial waste pollute the water with nitrates, metals and pesticide. Forest and other vegetation cover slow the surface runoff and replenish underground water. The water harvesting method can also be used to save surface runoff. Canals used for irrigation should be properly checked for water losses through seepage and evaporation. Rainwater harvesting is the process of collecting rainwater from rooftops and directing it to an appropriate location where it is stored for future use. Natural vegetation and wildlife. Natural vegetation and wildlife exist only in the biosphere. The narrow zone of contact between the lithosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere is called the biosphere. Tiger. In the biosphere, living beings are interrelated and interdependent on each other for survival. This life-supporting system is known as the ecosystem. Plants provide us with timber, shelter to animals, produce oxygen, protect the soil for growing crops, act as shelter belts, give us fruits and vegetables, help in the storage of underground water, etc. Wildlife includes animals, birds, insects, and aquatic life forms. They provide us with milk, meat, hides, and wool, help in the pollination of flowers, acts as decomposers in the ecosystem, etc. Fig. A bird distribution of natural vegetation. The growth of vegetation depends on temperature and moisture. Forests, grasslands, scrubs, and tundra are the major types of vegetation of the world. Forests are associated with areas having abundant water supply. These areas have heavy rainfall and huge trees. Grasslands are areas having short stunted trees and grasses that grow in regions of moderate rainfall. As the amount of moisture decreases, the size of trees and their density reduces. Natural vegetation. Thorny shrubs and scrubs grow in dry areas of low rainfall. The plants of this region have deep roots and leaves with a thorny and waxy surface that helps reduce the loss of moisture through transpiration. Tundra vegetation of cold polar regions comprises mosses and lichens. Evergreen and deciduous are the types of forests depending upon when they shed their leaves. Trees of evergreen forests do not shed their leaves simultaneously in any season of the year. Deciduous forests shed their leaves in a particular season to conserve loss of moisture through transpiration. Fig. Nature conservation of natural vegetation and wildlife forests are our wealth. Plants give shelter to the animals and together they maintain the ecosystem. Changes in climate and human interference can cause the loss of natural habitats for plants and animals. Poaching is one of the major concerns which results in a sharp decline in the number of particular species. The animals are poached for collection and illegal trade of hides, skins, nails, teeth, horns and feathers. To protect our natural vegetation and wildlife, national parks, wildlife sanctuaries and biosphere reserves are made. Due to indiscriminate killings, several birds and animals have either become extinct or are on the verge of extinction. Awareness programs like social forestry and Van Mahotsava should be encouraged at the regional and community level. It is the ethical duty of every citizen to conserve plants and animals.